Okay, so let's get started. We're going to talk a little bit about everything in terms of being productive. You really want to touch paper only once, maybe twice if you have to. So when you get something, and it's true for digital, say you get an email, instead of like hovering over it and maybe thinking of, do something with it. You either file it for later, it's either part of a project, you delete it, or you're going to put it on a folder to answer later. It's touch it once is the rule. Tell me a little bit about what are your latest ideas or tips or resources.
So some of the apps that I like to use, I like TripIt. And I actually subscribe to the annual TripIt rather than the free account. It's about $50 a year. And if you travel a lot, it's a good investment because I can keep all my itineraries there. I can keep boarding passes, everything from open table reservations to even Evernote, which is also a good organizational tool. It will interface with TripIt. So it's kind of nice to have all of that in one place.
Okay, so TripIt is your number one productivity tool because you don't want to fumble around to find your tickets, find your,
before that, it was just my travel journal. Everything was kept in there. So now at least I have, with the advent of smartphone and apps, I can use TripIt to do all that stuff I used to do all on my own.
That is good to know for sure. What I like about TripIt is once you connect your email address, every time you get an airline reservation, it's automatically logged onto your TripIt app. So it's really smart that way. You don't have to be forwarding things to it. It knows what you're supposed to know. And it also tells you if there's a gate change before the gate agent will tell you there's a gate change. Tommy, tell us about Evernote, because I think I love the idea that you just shared about you can email to Evernote
yes.
A task list, or
you can. Well, what I love about Evernote is it allows me I can have different notebooks, I think they're called, and then you can email, and if you add the @ sign and the notebook, then that email stream will go right into Evernote.
You know, if you use it on your desktop and then you also have the app on your mobile device, tablet or smartphone,
yes,
they will sync. So if you have a list in one, it'll show up on the other.
Another great feature of Evernote is that if you have a picture, like if you've taken a scan of a business card or a piece of paper, Evernote will then OCR it. So if you do a search on something, that business card or that piece of paper will come up in your search.
As far as productivity at work, we use something called Basecamp, which is it's an app that's really interesting that allows you to get that workflow going. So from a work standpoint, Basecamp does for me, it does take the stress level down because you know who's supposed to be working on what. They report in for that project. You know what you've got to do. So that's there. When something gets completed, it's there. I think other than texts, getting any messages from Evernote is the first thing I make sure I open.
That's very cool. We use Slack, and we started using Slack. Marty, what would you say, like about a couple months ago or something?
Yeah, probably a couple months. So I want to echo Laura on Basecamp. Love that app. That is great, especially if you do project-oriented work. It keeps everything in one spot. But yeah, Slack we've probably been using a couple months now.
It saved us, 80% of our email traffic. It's
big time.
The other one I'm using now, I'm so excited, is Nozbe. I learned this from Syed Balki, and that's spelled N-O-Z, like zebra, B-E. And one of the amazing things about Nozbe is that it also gives you tutorials on not just how to use the app. Obviously, that's important, but on how to get organized. Like this idea that if you have a list and you can divide it by, personal things and work things, or it's, that you focus on clearing your list, also make time during the day to say, okay, I'm going to make the list, no distractions. And then here I'm going to clear the list, no distractions. And we'll see you here again next week. Thank you so much. And thank you to Verizon for sponsoring this VZWBuzz mobile chat.